It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to a special unscheduled broadcast of the Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast on this Saturday morning. Give you some hints as to what's going on here shortly. But anyway, welcome to the podcast with special guest Nate Valier of Alaska Travel Desk, brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scoot Around, and by Chillie's Cruises. Yesterday, we had the interview with Nate. And those of you that were watching it, everything was going along just hunky-dory. And we got, I think it was 12 minutes into the interview, which is about a third of it. And all of a sudden, it quit. It stopped. And then I tried to restart it. I couldn't get it to restart where it was. It would go back and start over. Well, I didn't want to do that because we would all watch the first 12 minutes of it. So I tried that 2 or 3 times, and finally I said, I'm going to have to re-edit the thing, and we'll get the rest of the interview up on the next show. And that's the way I ended it yesterday. I went on and finished the show and, apologized to everybody and said, I'd come back with the rest of the interview as soon as I could, whether it would be today or tomorrow or Monday, whenever I got it done. Now, the anecdotal part of the whole story is I spent all afternoon yesterday. I'm talking about 4 hours trying to edit the stupid interview. All I wanted to do was load it up into one of my editors. I have several editors, video editors. Snip out the first 12 minutes and save the last 34 minutes or whatever it was. That's not difficult, folks, and something that's done constantly. I could not get the thing to save on my computer. Finally, I got so frustrated, I just quit. I said, man, I'm going to drive myself crazy. So last night after dinner, of course, we do our little puzzle thing with the family. I came into the room and I called John up in Minnesota and I said, help. Explained the situation and he said, send it to me. So I transferred the interview up to him and I said, look, all you got to do is cut out the first 12 minutes and I'll go from there and just save it and send it back to me. So when I got up this morning, sure enough, there it was. So that's loaded up. So we'll get to that in a minute. It's a great interview, folks. That's why it was important to me to get it up, because it was our chance to really do an in-depth look at the Grandiosa, which Nate was on down in Brazil. So anyway, before we get to that, I got to talk about dust. This one, folks, totally freaked me out, literally within the last half an hour. Okay. See that car? Well, that's not my car. This actually was taken yesterday down somewhere near Johnson City, Tennessee, where people all of a sudden on all their cars, they got this coating of dust. All right. So finally they did, somebody, I don't know, ask Google. I don't know who did it, but anyway, they came up with what all the dust was from. Now, this came out of Johnson City, Tennessee, last evening. Many people across the tri-state region observed a dust-like substance on their vehicles yesterday. Photos of dust-covered vehicles was posted on social media and sent into the channel. This was from Channel 11. So what was it exactly? Earlier in the week, there were dust storms in West Texas. The winds with these storms help transport dust into the upper levels of the atmosphere. The dust particles were trapped within the clouds. Southwest winds helped transport some of the dust into our region. I was in Tennessee on Friday, mixed in with rain droplets ahead of a cold front, which is why many of you noticed dust on your vehicles. So here 30 minutes ago, Amanda went out early this morning to take care of one of her clients. She had some pet sitting to do. And she came back in to help get her mother out. And she says, "Do you know anything about this dust?" I said, "What?" She said, "There's a coating of dust on the cars." Well, the dust from Tennessee is now in Virginia. So she took her car and got it washed. So I'm going to have to take my car and get it washed today. Unless it rains. Maybe if it rains good and hard, I don't have to worry about it. But everything's coated with dust from West Texas. Now it's in Virginia. So just a little anecdote here on what's a, I had no idea. And actually, Mr. Gene saw it on the news last night. So he was able to explain what it was because Amanda thought it was sap out of the tree or something. I said, "This isn't the right time of year to get sap out of an oak tree." So I said, "Nah, that's not it." Well, he knew what it was. So I looked it up and found out, yeah, we got this dust crap. So anyway, so I guess east and northeast of us, prepare. You're going to get dust on your cars. So, and everything else, as a matter of fact. All right, so we'll be back with the conclusion of Nate's interview and a couple news stories. I didn't go over the news stories, did I? Okay, so before I get started here, we do have the conclusion of the chat between me and Nate on the Grandiosa. Also, this morning, we're going to talk about travel advisory for Grand Turk, JetBlue to renovate JFK Terminal 5, TUI'S first adults-only cruise, Royal Caribbean to drop Baltimore and Alaska approves terminal funding, that and lots more here at 11 o'clock this morning. All right, guys, I will be back with the conclusion of Nate's interview after a quick break from one of our fine network sponsors. All right, guys, so we're going to try this again. Now, this is just, again, John whacked it off like I told him to, and this is, we're just going to click it on and start, and hopefully it's somewhere in the vicinity of where it died yesterday.
I wanted to kind of share my experience on Grandiosa because I was really impressed. I would pick this ship over one of the seashore seascapes, to be honest. I really did enjoy this ship.
Okay.
Yacht Club was simply amazing. I was able to walk around there and experience it with some friends. And, the Aria rooms are really nice. But overall, I think this is going to do a really good job. And I think especially for mobility impaired travelers, you're going to love some of these pictures I have.
Yeah.
Coming up.
All right, so let's take a look at some food.
All right, so the food, this, again, it's very Brazilian. This is actually beef stroganoff. But we had in one of the restaurants, instead of having a set tray of bread, someone came around and actually gave it to you. We then had our option of oils with vinaigrette, I think, and even Parmesan cheese and peppers.
Yeah.
So this is actually very, very tasty. I know people look at this and go, "What the crap?" But this is a Brazilian beef stroganoff, and it's actually really, really good. This was dessert, again, pretty tasty. I'm trying to avoid sugar, even though I'm drinking a Cuba Libre
cocktail. Yes.
Yeah. This is the risotto. Now, again, very Brazilian. So this risotto actually had a lot of veggies in it, and then it came by with fresh Parmesan, which I thought was nice. So they actually had the brick of Parmesan with the shredder, not the one in the little turn thing. And so it was actually fresh Parmesan, and the risotto was really good.
Wow. I'm liking it.
So this was at Butcher's Cut. This was the tomato soup, and believe it or not, it came out with 2 grilled cheeses. If you look further up, you can see the little butter pads. So we actually had 2 types of butter. We had some kind of seasoned garlic butter, and then the other one was freshly made butter.
That's a hell of a bowl of soup for a butcher's cut.
Oh, and don't even ask about the price. But I think this was the roasted tortilla or roasted fire tomato.
Yeah. I love that too.
And now I'm going to take a jab at Norwegian. What do you notice about this plate? What side do you notice that you can't get on Norwegian anymore?
Onion rings.
Exactly. So again, if MSC's, racing to the bottom, you still have a choice of about 8 different sides. So I had the jalapeno, corn and onion rings, and the steak was really good. This is my friends. I think you already have one of the shrimp cocktails. Again, very well presented. They really enjoyed it. Sushi, we did Kaido sushi, which I'm normally not a seafood person, so I took a picture just so you guys can see what that looked like. And it was very cheap, believe it or not. And I think the Kaido prices aren't different than what you'll get in America. So I don't know why, but they had hibachi for like $29 to $69, depending on what you wanted. And then we did the a la carte at Kaido. And I wish I would have done this more often because, I ordered the fried rice and then it's like a chicken, not udon, but I ordered one of the chicken side bowls and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
This is one of the what I like about Celebrity. If you go to the Lawn Club on like the Silly and the Connie and Millennium, they have the Lawn Club up top. You can actually see the steak. Same thing with Butcher's Cut. You could actually see the steak. This was a tomahawk. This one was like 4 pounds of glory.
Yeah. I can't eat them damn things.
Yeah, they make 2 people bite. You can't. They wouldn't give it to me. Being a fat American, they said no. They told me no. Ribeye, I ate every ounce of that. It took them a long time.
I'm liking the ribeye.
But
I've actually gotten Nate where I'm having trouble eating a good ribeye anymore, and I've dropped down to a fillet, and I'm happy with that.
So I found out from MSC they are using Lynn's as the main beef and pork vendor for steaks worldwide. So you do get the same quality of food no matter where you are on the ships.
Okay. That one's a good one to know.
This is some kind of sushi, something from Kaido sushi. I don't know what it is, but my friends loved it. They devoured this thing. So if you guys know what this is.
I have not a clue what that is. And I love sushi.
And they loved it. So it was some kind of concoction.
Huh.
And this is what I had. So the fried rice on the left and then
that's chicken hibachi?
No, not hibachi. I forgot what the noodle was. But it was really good. And so I definitely enjoyed it. And so we had different kinds of sauces and everything. And the waiters are very attentive.
All right. Well, I have to admit, there's the food looks yummy.
Yeah. Well,
just absolutely yummy.
And to jump the gun, we had no problem getting in anywhere on the Brazil cruises. We had no problem getting reservations for Butcher's Cut. We had My Choice dining, which is great. So we got to use the main dining room that was across the way in the plaza, which is nice. And that, even main dining was really good. But same thing, Ola Tacos, same price, like $20 all you can eat, spot on. And my friends loved it. They skipped it on Seascape, and I'm like, why didn't we go? Why didn't we listen to you? And I'm like, look, I'm a fat boy. Listen to the fat boy. We know where the good food is.
Yeah, we do.
And like that's what I mean. MSC's got some good consistencies, and I think that they're getting better. The problem is when you buy the advanced food packages, even as travel agents, we can't always see the menu. So I'm really trying to help fellow agents out and get pictures so they can see what you get. So like Divina, the limited options at Galaxy 23 or the Kaido sushi bar is very limited. Same thing on this ship. So we did a la carte. And it worked out well.
Okay. All right.
This goes back to the pool deck. This was Carnival. I was in Brazil during Carnival, and oh my God, But this picture, Chillie, guess what time this picture was taken?
Oh, I don't know. I would guess that would be early in the evening.
1:15.
Oh, jeez.
Half the
I'd be in
ship
bed asleep,
was,
Nate.
oh no, everybody was up. Everyone had their party treats. Everyone was dressed up. Everyone having a good time. They're pulling people in to dance. This was one of 4 parties that night. One of 4.
Oh, my stars.
Yeah, this ship knows how to party. And so I hope it carries over. All right, so we're kind of jumping around. The Aqua Park is great. This is where I think the families are going to love it, especially for the Caribbean, because we had 3 water slides. You had a bunch of kids, little areas you can go into that actually worked, stressing that actually worked. I've been on a couple ships where they didn't.
Yeah.
The weird part is you have to get here through Horizons, which is on the very back of the ship. And there is no easy way to get to the Aqua Park, unlike Seascape and Mirabilia, where it's kind of
Okay, so that's
middle.
Horizon.
Yeah, and that's one of the cute little displays at the pool on Horizons. It's not a infinity pool; it's just a generic, metal encased saltwater, not heated pool.
Yeah.
But it was full every time I went by, so I never got in a single pool on this ship. This is a pool deck during right before sail away in Santos. You never really had to fight for deck chairs because you had so many out there. And this is something for your mobility impaired people. What do you notice in the middle?
Rails.
No, what do you see in the very middle? Handicap accessible only.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that.
Yep. You guys have your own
Holy
section.
cow.
Yep. Same thing in the theater, in the buffet. And
I've not seen that on a pool deck.
They policed the crap out of this. They had someone, there's a bar right behind it. So you have bar service to help you. And they said this is normal for Grandiosa, is they're very peculiar about mobility accessible folks. And so this is right up front, right by the stage. Could be good, can be bad. But you guys are very well taken care of.
Well, that's always been one of my big bugaboos with MSC, is they were lacking in that area on some of the ships. Boy, am I glad to see this. That's awesome.
And same thing in the buffet and in the, so you can see here to the right. So this is during one of the games during the day, but if you look to the right, you can see the sanctioned off area for mobility, limited mobility folks. So all the doors nearby are automated. They're touch free to open to get you guys in and out of there. They even have someone who maybe scooter. So I did see one person in a wheelchair. Not many, like scoot around, cough, cough. I saw no scoot around out of Santos, but there was someone in a wheelchair, and they did push it behind a little TV screen just to the right of the stage.
The last time I talked to somebody in the office from Scoot Around, they're still behind in South America.
Yeah.
They're working on Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll get to South America eventually.
Yeah, there were none on the ship. Everyone did have a standard wheelchair, but the ship very much, and I think this is something to highlight, especially for some of our mobility impaired travelers. This ship does it right. Now, this is one of the side balcony or the side terrace whirlpools. They have 2 of these up on deck 16.
Yeah.
And they were kind of cool. They were a little bit busy at times, but again, you can see lots of deck chairs around. On this ship, you had no problem getting one. They did police, believe it or not. And so if someone had their stuff out too long, then someone would put it on a cart and move it to a table, right in front of one of the bars on deck 15. Again, with the ship this packed, I was just shocked. I did not have to fight for a pool chair, and I think that just blows my mind. So I don't know if it's just the Brazilian culture. Even though I have other complaints about the way they acted with no personal space, but I just was floored that I had no problem getting a deck chair.
Yeah.
They had a snow foam party, which blew my mind. I know Brazilians don't get snow at all, but this was a big deal for a lot of people. They had a snow machine.
Oh, now that's cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, no, it was a really good time.
Glad to send them some.
Yeah.
Glad to send them some from Europe too. Good Lord.
We need some in Juneau. It's 40 degrees. That's why I'm not in Juneau right now. This is the main atrium. And so this goes from deck 5, 6, and 7. And so you have the typical Swarovski crystal staircase. Again, everyone's taking their pictures. You had photographers taking pictures on a couple. But what I liked about this ship was they only did one side. And I hate that when I'm on MSC and I'm trying to get between deck and you happen to get to the staircase and it's closed off. Here, you knew. So one side, I forgot if it was starboard or port side, was closed off for the people who wanted the glamour shots, which made life a lot easier because I do remember on Divina zigzagging. It should be down to 200 pounds, but I'm not. So this is their, I forgot what they call this.
Kaleidoscope ceiling or whatever it is.
Yeah. And it was very pretty. So they did shows every night, like every hour. It's just something different. It was all right. So the only thing that I thought was odd was there was no free ice cream machine, but they do have gelato and crepes. And so this is one of the places you can get it. So each MSC ship, of course, makes their own gelato on board. These prices were higher than I paid on Divina and Seascape, which kind of caught me by surprise because everything else was like a third of the price. So there's never a line, for gelato and crepes. It wasn't as busy as I've seen it on the other ships like Miravilia and on Seascape. Kaido Sushi and Seafood. So this was the area you can go and sit if you want to be on like the promenade. And then the teppanyaki is just behind the TV. And so they did teppanyaki about 4 or 5 times a night. And you had to have reservations for that one. And so the Galleria Grandiosa. So you can kind of see.
There you go.
From here. And then just above that is where the My Choice Dining restaurant is located. So the problem is if you're on the other side, you literally have to walk around. You can't use the bridge across in the middle like you can in Miravilia to get in there.
Yeah.
Without passing a bar. This is the French restaurant, which is on deck 6, right beside the MSC Foundation office and tacos, the gelato and crepes place. So this is where you would meet the captain. We had a diamonds meeting in here. We did not have much of a loyalty discussion. The loyalty meeting was just pretty much just, the Asti cheap champagne toast. Yeah. They also had a meeting for Americans in here, which I thought was kind of nice. But this bar was great. So there's a bar in the back on the right, and people don't normally, they walk right past it and think it's part of the restaurant. Those bartenders are simply top notch. They had amazing wine in here from all over the world, even though you don't have the same wine count you have on Seascape. They did a really good job on this ship. What I also liked was the ship was full of the new MSC For Me screens as well as the interactive maps. So this was great. You could also change a language, which I thought was fantastic. I think there's like 9 different languages on there, so you can find out where you need to go and when. We did have 3 elevator banks, which made life easier, and I'll talk about the elevators in a little bit. The MSC For Me was great because you could see everything if you don't have your phone, because I know some people don't have the smartphones. For example, this is one of the parties starting at 11:30. And it literally went till like 2 in the morning.
Wow. When did you sleep?
Sleep? What?
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. Now, I never knew this. I am such an idiot. Every deck is named after an artist. I never knew this.
Oh.
Yeah, an artist or a famous Italian.
You know what? I've never noticed that either.
No, Divina doesn't have this. Divina, and Miravilia didn't have this. So every deck had information on the artist, and then of course a piece of artwork and whatever. And it was kind of cool, not like you want to spend your cruise going to all 13 decks.
Yeah, well, I saw some neat, some, especially Goya. Saw some neat works of him at the museum I went to in Lisbon.
Yeah, and behind me was
It's
a big
cool.
like cursor thing of Goya.
Yeah.
And as a travel agent, when I saw, when we go through the deck plans and stuff and we see the names, I don't think anything about it. But now I know, and I'm kind of embarrassed about it, but it was kind of cool, So what I also like about this, and I wish more cruise lines did this, Chillie, look at that. Look at that in the middle.
That's a place to sit down
Yeah.
for an elevator, waiting for an elevator.
Yep. So they do have the new system where you have to touch the deck you want to go to, and then you can sit and wait. This is where this ship shines over Seascape, because Seascape does not have this. Seascape, you got to run between the decks.
Yeah.
And Seascape stupidly tells you how long your wait is.
Yeah.
Whereas here, we didn't have to wait too long, for an elevator. So most people, of course, figured it out that you would, push the deck you wanted to go to, or how, push it multiple times for how many folks are going there. But every elevator bank has this, and I think this is brilliant. I don't mean to call out our older generation folks, but they're going to love this, because I do know that is a problem on other cruise lines, is when you have to stand and wait for an elevator. Some of them just can't do it, especially those.
It's especially because there's so many people of my generation, Nate. I mean, let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
That won't bite the bullet and get a wheelchair or a scooter and try to still walk a cruise. And somebody 75, 80 years old just can't do that anymore.
And to be honest, this is brilliant. I don't even know if Holland America has this. And I know I push, you and I both.
I've never seen it before.
And when we talk about folks who have certain cruise ethics and requests and, contemporary cruising, and we push, the older generation on Holland America, I'm surprised Holland doesn't have this, but it was great. People would do it, especially some of the women and older folks would sit and wait for an elevator, and it's great.
Yeah.
Because it would tell you,
brilliant.
It would tell you which side to go into, either, A, B, C, D, E, F, and you could sit on that side and wait. Now, what I also like about this ship, this is a bathroom. What do you notice about it?
Holy crap, it's huge.
Well, not only that, everything is touch-free. So this is like the Dyson sink, where there's three actuators in there. So the middle, you have your water. Off to the right is your soap, and to the left is an air dryer.
Cool.
And it is completely touchless. Like I said, they did an amazing. They really thought this one through. I mean, I thought Royal Caribbean was neat having, touch-free sinks on Oasis and older and newer ships.
Yeah.
And I know that we've seen, I think Norwegian and some of the newer ships also have like the hands-free, like you got to put your hands under the dispenser. But this one, it's like the Dyson, like we see on the Florida Turnpike. You've got the completely hands-free. And then they have right beside the door, which you can see in the picture, it's a mirror. You've got your paper towels to open the door, and there's a sign on the door to use a paper towel to open it. Again, this is every public bathroom in a ship. And for people in wheelchairs, they even have a button on most doors to open them, which is nice. So
awesome.
No touching 3 or 4 things. Now, this is inside the elevator. So it tells you what decks you're going to. And luckily, no annoying music or anything. No annoying sales pitch. I mean, this does tell you to book, do featured cruise and get, onboard credit.
All right. Now, I'm not sure why this one popped up here.
Solarium,
I believe that's a solarium picture.
It is, and that was open most of the time. And I never got in the pool. I should have, but I never did. We're on my cruise, it was very much a beach-based trip. So I figured I don't need to be in a saltine pool.
We got the spa.
I was very impressed with this. The spa was very good. I would definitely do the thermal suite again. And I was kind of sad they did not have the same chairs that Magnifica and Divina have in the relaxation area. So this one is the Thalasso pool that I know we love on Norwegian. And then you have the The heated chairs on the right, those were pretty busy. The only challenge with this little pool was getting in and out because if there's only room for 6 people and you also have headrest. This is in one of the relaxation areas, and this is where I mentioned the different chairs on Divina and Magnifica. These are just, you couldn't really recline. And Divina, on that one, I fell asleep like all the time when I would go in there. They weren't too busy.
Okay. I missed this one, so let me see if I can pull it real quick. And I got to reload it.
Yeah, the thermal spa was fairly big. I think it's the same size on Miravilia, to be honest. It's the hot tub / whirlpool, so you just kind of get in there and sit. It's maybe 2 feet deep.
So I could take my chair right up to the edge of that, transfer over to the edge, and then go over and actually get in it?
Yeah, the water's
wow.
not 2 feet deep.
Boy, that's something that would be different for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could actually use this one. And there's a room
let's
for your
see, we
scooter,
got show. We got a couple pictures from shows.
So right now they have 2 shows on the vessel. You don't get free drinks like in America, but of course you only pay $5 down in Brazil. This one was Swings, I believe. Sweet with Swings are the 2 shows, and they did a fantastic job. The fact that you're on a moving ship, and they just did a really good job with the atmosphere and the ambiance of the theater. A lot of these are former Cirque du Soleil performers. MSC did have a contract with Cirque du Soleil for quite a few years, and during COVID did not maintain it, so they kind of have a bunch of fake Cirque shows on board, and so this was a different show. Again, kind of both of them are different, entertaining, and definitely worth the extra money. And then if you do have a group of 4 or more, you can ask if you can get a private table, and they'll give you one when you book.
All right, so I'm not sure which one is first, Nate, on your sales.
Okay, so the pricing, the reason why we're talking about Grandiosa is because it is coming to Fort Lauderdale, or Florida, to be home ported there in the winter. So we've got some pretty good deals going on right now. So please call you or me or both of us.
All right, let me see if I can figure which one is supposed to be first.
So we've got
yeah.
It does the same itinerary in the summer, which is Mediterranean, and it does a Western Circle. Okay, well, this is when it's in America. This one is doing
December.
Port Canaveral to Dominican Republic, Nassau, and Ocean Key. So not a bad deal for $469 for December 6th. So that'll be her first departure from Port Canaveral. You got some pretty long time there at Ocean Key, which is nice. Again, call Chillie or me.
Oh, yeah.
Solo rate's only $664, not too bad. And this ship does, in fact, have solo rooms on it. So they do have solo interior, solo ocean view, and solo balcony.
Okay.
This is the other itinerary it does. I call this one the Diver's Paradise Cruise. So this one does Cozumel, Caymans, and Jamaica. So that's not a bad deal for $600 a person. Solo rate was a little bit more. And then if you want to do the transatlantic, she's going from Barcelona with a stop in Las Palmas, San Juan, St. Thomas. For some reason, she's not going to Nassau or Ocean Key, which kind of blows my mind. I know a lot of our folks love transatlantics. I do expect this price to drop for solos.
Yeah.
But that's what it is right now to Barcelona. And the ship actually starts, I think, in Rome. So this is what she's doing all summer, essentially, is this round robin. And with MSC, this is not a termination cruise. So when you get on board in Rome, you're not going to be fighting with 4,000 other people because they actually do boarding at every single port, as they did in Brazil, which is nice. But you do hit Ibiza, Valencia, great place for wine, Marseille, Genoa, and of course back to Rome and Civitavecchia. And then this is the fall itinerary. So again, just a little bit of difference in pricing. But she's a good ship. I really did enjoy her. I want to say She is my favorite of all the ships so far that I've been on for MSC. I'll know. I'm going on World America on April 9th, and I'll have hopefully be able to do some live updates on your show during the World America premiere.
Yes.
But MSC did a really good job with this ship, and they really did some very thoughtful additions, especially I think in the foyers for seating areas for people. I think the fact that they have handicap accessible spots both in the buffet, the cinema, restaurants, and then on the pool deck. Yeah, again, I know MSC's got their challenges. I'm not trying to be too much of an MSC fan, but with that on my wall behind me, just no artwork here in Panama.
Right.
But no, they've done a good job, and I think they should be commended for that.
Yeah.
This ship is very well thought out. We had a lot of people on board, and it didn't really feel like that. The buffet, was very good. The pizza was standard. It had all the stuff you'd expect on any other ship. But they did a good job. They only do one turnaround service for cabin attendants during the day versus we had 2 on Divina. We had no solo meetup, no LGBT meeting, no Alcoholics Anonymous meetings or anything. I think, at least on my cruise, but that's a whole discussion for the Brazilian market, is these are pretty much all families on board. Even with the kids, you can't really, they weren't overly annoying. They had their own areas to go to, and they were busy. The F1 racers, there are 2 of them on board, were always booked. The bowling alley was always booked. There's stuff going on all the time, and the indoor basketball court. And it was a busy ship, but I think that they handled it really well with the crowd, and I think that she will be well received in America. I really do, and I think that's one reason to talk about it is, you don't normally see a good ship like this. And like I said, I was very impressed with the boarding, disembarkation process. Even though Santos was a shit show, was a cluster.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a mess, but not MSC's fault. But the way it was handled compared to Miami, where you'll stand in line for 3 hours, it wasn't that bad. We had line after line after line. We had to take a bus to the ship and all this and all that. But even disembarkation, I planned on taking an hour and a half, and it took us barely 20 minutes, which is my mistake. So I booked us on a late bus to Sao Paulo. But other than that, they did it. They handled the crowds really well, which is, I think, is the important thing, is when we get in these bigger ships. And I hear this a lot from travelers are, I want to be on a smaller ship because I hate waiting in line. I hate being told there's no reservations available or there's no seats. They handled it really well. They had 3 shows a day on our ship. The entertainment was good, and casino, amazingly, is not that big. I was shocked. I was expecting it to be like Celebrity, or even Celebrity's taken out parts of a library to add in, slot machines. But here, the casino is pretty small. MSC gets their money in other ways, but I think it's because they're not beholden to stockholders, not beholden to the New York Stock Exchange, that we are going to get a better or all-around product. And so I'm excited to talk about Brazil cruises. The season is almost over down here. The season does start up again in October. The beaches are amazing. The people are great. Don't be afraid of the language barrier. But MSC actually has 6 ships down here in the winter, which is amazing.
Yeah.
More than any other cruise line. And so it's what I do appreciate is the fact that I have been selling more with MSC compared to Norwegian and Celebrity, just to kind of see different areas, because unfortunately those 2 cruise lines aren't capturing, they're doing the core markets, it seems like, or the very boutique type cruises. Even Norwegian, they pulled out a lot of their ships down here too. I think Norwegian just has one down here right now compared to like 4. So anyway, Grandiosa was a great ship. I think people will really enjoy her.
Good.
I would go back on her again. And
well, we've wanted to do a deep dive on a ship, and this was just an absolutely ideal time and place for it. And of course, Nate, I appreciate everything you do for me. So
happy to help.
That was awesome. All right, so I'm going to have to get on with the show. I'll be back with a little bit of news right after a quick break from one of our fine network sponsors. All right, so that actually ends the interview, which came unfortunately in two parts. But instead of a network sponsor, let's knock this out and then we'll get on with the news. All right, this is the Alaska Travel Desk deal of the day. MSC Grandiosa, sailing from Port Canaveral on December the 13th, 2025. She sails from Port Canaveral with stops in Cozumel, Georgetown and the Cayman Islands, Montego Bay in Jamaica, and then a stop back at Nassau in the Bahamas before coming back to Port Canaveral on the 20th. Prices start at $600 per person. Just give me a call at Alaska Travel Desk, 907-531-9140, or call me personally at 434-258-9264 for information or to book this lovely MSC Grandiosa cruise from Alaska Travel Desk. Cruise guests with booked sailings to Grand Turk will want to be aware of a new travel advisory issued by the U.S. Department of State. On Tuesday, March the 4th, the advisory level for Turks and Caicos Islands was raised to a level 2, urging visitors to exercise increased caution. The travel advisory has been issued primarily due to increased crime in areas where there may be limited investigatory services to assist visitors. JetBlue Airways has partnered with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and Freightport USA to help renovate JFK International's Terminal 5 with over 40 new concessions, new amenities, art installations, and a redesign inspired by the city's parks. The terminal will open new dining areas and shopping experiences this year, with the last portion of the renovation set for completion by the end of 2026. The renovation is part of Port Authority's $19 billion renovation, that's billion with a B, at JFK. Terminal 5 opened in 2008, was expanded in 2014. It served 165 JetBlue flights each day. Over 35,000 travelers pass through the terminal to connect flights daily. For the first time, a ship in TUI Cruises' Mein Schiff fleet will offer an adults-only voyage designed to provide guests ages 18 and up with pure relaxations as it crosses the vast Indian Ocean over the course of 23 days. Mein Schiff 6 will operate the cruise that departs from Cape Town, South Africa on November the 17th, 2025, and concludes in Singapore on December 10th, 2025. Hey, travelers planning on a trip to Florida? We've extended our discounts on mobility equipment rentals in Orlando and Kissimmee throughout the spring. Save on scooters, wheelchairs, power chairs, and more. These offers are valid for popular locations like Disney World, Universal Studios, and SeaWorld. Orlando mobility rentals are 15% off until May 31st, 2025. Call Scootaround at 1-888-441-7575. Use SRN 11137 for the best rates. Thanks to its strategic location on the East Coast, the Baltimore Cruise Port has become a favorite for many, especially because the venue offers a calmer experience than the busier Florida cruise ports that accommodate millions of passengers annually. However, one big name will be absent from Baltimore by the end of 2026. That is Royal Caribbean. For the past several years, Vision of the Seas has homeported in Baltimore year-round, which makes this change rather surprising. It's official. On Thursday, Governor Mike Dunleavy of Alaska signed the legislation for House Bill 65, the final step in giving the Alaska Railroad Corporation up to $135 million in revenue bonds. This money will be used to fund the construction of a new passenger dock and terminal facility in Seward, something that has been urgently needed. The revenue bonds will not be using any state money to finance this dock and is instead being secured by a 30-year agreement with an anchor tenant. In this case, the anchor tenant is Royal Caribbean Group, which guarantees that the revamped port will see a minimum of 140,000 visitors annually, though it will be available to other cruise lines as well. To finance the new port, cruise fares will be supplemented with improvement fees, which will enable passengers to cover the bond debt repayment over time. The amount per person has not yet been announced. American Cruise Line offers guests a variety of well-crafted itineraries, like the complete Mississippi River cruise from New Orleans all the way to St. Paul, Minnesota. Hear the echoes of the riverboat travelers as you travel the full length of the mighty Mississippi on this 23-day journey. As 10 states glide past your vantage point on the sun deck, admire what has been the subject of numerous works of art and the backdrop of countless American novels. The complete Mississippi River cruise. Just give me a call, 434-258-9264. And remember, American Cruise Line, small ship cruising done perfectly. All right, that's going to end the news portion and interview portion of today's show. Special thanks, of course, to Nate for, that was a pretty substantial interview that we carried out over the 2 days. And also to John Reitmeyer and Crookston, Minnesota, who made today possible, because I sure couldn't get it done. And thanks to John, we got the show on today and got the interview finished. And anyway, that's just awesome. All right, so let's go see if anybody's in the chat room fussing at me. Of course, this was unscheduled, unpredicted, uneverythinged. Kenneth with us says good morning to everybody. Hot Air Tom is here. Has Robin found anything she likes in the Palomar menu? Gretchen says, morning all out in Ohio. Cleaning house for a party tomorrow, but I'm listening. Well, that's okay. You can come clean mine. No, I got a housekeeper who does that, Gretchen. You don't have to come clean mine. Hot Air says, no dust in Richmond. It's coming. Just give it a couple more hours. I don't know. I haven't been outside to look, so But for Amanda to complain about it and take her car to get it washed, Roger says, good morning from Jacksonville. Did you see the train travel in France is, disrupting by a 500 kilogram bomb? Yeah, it was a bomb from World War II. I saw something about it. It was discovered near where we were, Hot Air Tom and I were at Gare du Nord Station. Gare du Nord, however you say that. Our travels to and from there were always a problem. Yeah, and the bomb wasn't exploded or anything. It was just that they found a World War II bomb. So, I'm sure they have special procedures to take care of that. Hot Air Tom and Chillie got out just in time. We could have been blown to bits. Yeah, no, well, I was there the whole time. There are Eurostar delays, I would imagine, yes. Chillie's Cruises, that bathroom is like the ones in Brightline lounges and also on the train. Kenneth says she'll have steak. Well, that's okay. There's Gary Older Than Dirt. Good morning, everybody. All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up for today. Again, this was totally unscripted, unscheduled. It just seemed like the right thing to do when I got the information back from John, had a few little news stories to add in with it, and finished the deep dive on Grandiosa, which clearly, I mean, I'm booked on it for one cruise. I might have to look at a couple more here. I like what they're doing for the disabled community, which has been my biggest bugaboo with MSC. I love the ships, I love the people, but they're terrible on accessibility issues. Well, obviously, somebody in the company is doing things right, so that's good to know, and it's definitely heading in the right direction. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for the weekend. Maybe. I mean, I'll still monitor things through the day today and tomorrow. Who knows? I may be back again. You never can tell. If not, I'll see everybody back here on Monday for our regularly scheduled broadcast. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas, just like a bunch of us are going to do come the 31st of this month. All right, guys. I'll see everybody either later this weekend or on Monday. Have a great weekend, y'all. See you next time.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.